What's up, Falcon Nation? Voice of the Friends University Falcons, Pat Strathman, joined by head football coach at Friends University, Terry Harrison. It is episode 8 here with the Friends University Coaches Show. We're broadcasting here from Chicken Max, 3 locations in Wichita. We are at the West and Maple location, specifically at 325 South West Street in Wichita. Chicken Max, locally owned and hatched right here in Wichita, known for their legendary sandwiches, taking the chicken sandwich to the max. Their smoked chicken is smoked in almond wood every day, several times a day, in each location, giving it a fresh, unique flavor. Savory sides like mac and cheese, which I'm pretty sure Coach Harrison had mac and cheese today, which looked pretty darn good. Mashed potatoes and gravy, potato salad, coleslaw, and much more. I think Coach Harrison likes the hush puppies. That's probably a good one. Club salads and power bowls with their smoked chicken for a healthy choice. Several sauces unique to Chicken Max. That is Chicken Max, 3 locations in Wichita. We're out here every single Thursday at 5:30. If you want to stop on by, you certainly can. Last week, I know the entire offensive line enjoyed themselves last week. I was talking to the management here at Chicken Max, and they were like, did they have a good time? I was like, yeah, I think they enjoyed themselves. They showed up, and I think they're like, uh-oh.
Here we go.
It's not like the wide receivers. It's the hogs that are lining up. So I think they're a little bit worried. But they handled it really well, and I know that the offensive line had a great time. I don't know if that resulted in a big win on Saturday on homecoming, but hey, I'm sure it probably didn't hurt.
I should have brought him back. What do you think?
42-7 win over Sterling at homecoming. The Falcons are now 3-4, and now they gear up for another home game against Ottawa at Adair Austin Stadium this Saturday at 1 o'clock, and we'll talk about that matchup here shortly. But, Coach, 42-7 win. It's the largest margin of victory at Friends since 2015. Everything just clicked on Saturday for homecoming. Beautiful weather, a lot of people in the stands, homecoming festivities, good offense, good defense. All in all, a complete team victory. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, just really fun, like you talked about. It's kind of crazy in the middle of it. You just get so wrapped up in the game, and you're just trying to, series by series, make sure your kids are playing well and you're making good adjustments and all that stuff. But then to look back at all the, like you talked about, the highest winning gap, whatever, since 2015, all those things. There was a lot of firsts, too, that just, man, awesome and cool for kids and for families. And, when you have a win like that, it's, number one, it was good for our program to exercise some of our demons and see, hey, this is what it can be, and a little bit of preview, like this is what it will be. But then also rewarding for all those families that have been a part of some rougher homecomings the last several years. So, it's a little bit of both, right? So proud of our kids, thankful for our kids, thankful for the families that got to experience that in Friends University as a whole. When you have a homecoming weekend, man, tailgate was packed. So many activities going on. There was all kinds of alumni and volleyball and basketball games going on.
Recruits on hand, too.
Yeah, like 20-something recruits on campus. For those guys to get there and see that and have success, it just, it's good for the university, right? And we're so thankful to be here. So that's what, man, it was just awesome. Like you mentioned, beautiful day. And, man, overall just, one of those days that, we've had some tough losses this year. When you have a win like that, man, it's just really fun, and we definitely, want to enjoy it and be thankful for that.
Yeah, I brought up the largest margin of victory since 2015. There were a lot of special things to point out about that game. I don't know where to begin. I think we got to go defensively, though. You have one person in particular that was really good. But I went back and I did some digging, all right? So we know about the largest margin of victory since 2015. We'll talk about another big-time performance here before too long. On that side, you held Sterling to under 200 yards of offense, 60-some in the second half. First half, they had about 115. Second half, they had about 60, so it was about 175 yards of total offense. What's crazy is that was the first time Friends has held a team to under 200 yards since 2019 against Sterling. But it wasn't a win for Friends. It was a loss. Sterling ended up winning that game 22-0. The Warriors had 190 yards. You go to the next one for the win, or I should say the next one that's closest under 200. 2017 at Bethel, and Friends held Bethel to 190 yards of offense, but lost 13-0. Wow. The game before that, 49-20 win over Bethany. Sweets had just 161 yards of total offense. So just another thing. I know at the end of the day it's just a stat, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything if you don't continue to get better going forward. And we all know what you have coming up down the line. Yes, you have Ottawa. Yeah, you have Bethany, but you have Southwestern just around the corner. Avila, that's around the corner. So really good offenses coming ahead here for the Friends Falcons. But to look at that and go, holding a team under 200 yards for the first time in a couple of years, not to mention the first time you've done that, and get a win since 2017, one of those little feathers in your cap, if you will.
Yeah, and a great reminder, right? We all want to win all the time, right? But our purpose, number one, is so much greater than winning. But then when you hear that, man, it does make you grateful, and it gives you good perspective, right? If you can kind of zoom out and take a 30,000 foot, view of this thing, very, awesome and impressive to see, the growth we've made. And then, when you look at stats like that, what does it tell you, right? It is not simply about offense. It is not simply about defense. You have to play complementary football. And we've done that in so many moments this year, but that was the best, probably complete game of complementary football back and forth. And, minus those couple bizarre drives of crazy penalties, a couple touchdowns called back, they were able to go score their touchdown then, and that's when we didn't play as well together. So anyway, that was that's what you think of when you hear it. It's very crazy to think about for me, and we always, as coaches, you always look ahead, so it's like it's never good enough, and you're always looking at the next week. It is cool to look back and hear those things and know that, man, our kids have overcome a lot, and they've done a great job of building something that, at a minimum, people can be proud of. And when you come and watch us play, we know, man, we're going to be in the hunt. We're going to be in very competitive football games, which is a huge step from, you talk about some of those rougher years that have kind of been happening the last couple of years. So very, very cool to hear those stats for sure.
You forced 4 turnovers. I'm sure Coach Kempf is going to like that. We'll talk to Coach about that. Actually, who am I kidding? Coach Kempf is never really happy. Let's be real. He's always looking at the next thing. He's never satisfied, which is the point. You're supposed to continue to get better every single day. You forced 4 turnovers, 4 interceptions, one from Davon Mason. Felt like he could have had another one had he not mistime his jump just a little bit. But he got one back, so that was good. That was really good. But Nolan Ewing just had himself a ball game. 3 interceptions. I told him after the pick 6 that he had to go, you should have done not 1, not 2, not 3. You should have done that. Now, I'm sure it would have been flagged, so it's a good thing he didn't do that. But I told him, I was like, hey, man, 3 interceptions. That was one try. I was like, man, it's got to be close to a record. And I pull up the KCAC record books. I go, oh, no, there's a guy who had 4 at Friends back in the day. So he was one shy of a school record and a KCAC record. But what a performance by Nolan.
Yeah, very cool. We talked about that, after the game. Like, my goodness, if he ain't player of the week, it's never happening, And we even thought, you just never know. But potentially this guy might be National Player of the Week. That's that does not happen very often, right? And then some kids, some other school somewhere across the country had 3 and 2 touchdowns. But, it was funny. We laughed
next time, Nolan. Next time.
Exactly, right? It's like we laughed about that. But, the cool part about that is, number one, great kid who's been on the show, program kid who's been here a long time. Man, just awesome leader, all the things you talk about. Just very proud of that, of Nolan, number one. The whole defensive unit, like you talked about, Davon had a missed opportunity, and then he corrected it, right? So something bad happened, and he ended up making something good happen, which was cool. But the lesson we learned from this, and again, it's this always wanting to learn, always wanting to build your program. When you look at it, the kid who got Defensive Player of the Week was an Avila player from the Bethel game. And arguably the stats weren't better, but that was a big game in a conference championship atmosphere. And we kind of talk about that. To the victor go the spoils, And so fair, not fair, fair's not equal, all of those things. The cool part to learn from that is when we get this program and the way we're headed, we're going to play in those big games. And there is a time that's coming, we're going to play in a big game that's a conference championship type of game, and that's when those performances get all the awards you want. So it doesn't make it right. Obviously I'm a big Nolan fan and I wish he'd have got it. But if you can look at it and you kind of look at you can kind of zoom out and learn from it, is what we're always trying to do. Man, hey, proud of Nolan. On any other week, maybe he would have been, right? Yeah. You can't control all the other things that happen across the country, but man, for us, it was awesome, and more than that, just game-changing stuff. And when you get defensive touchdowns, and to see those guys, what I remember is those guys having fun playing together and then having fun on the sideline.
Yeah, the reaction on the sideline was just a crazy thing. I don't know what was going on. There was no championship. There was no belt or anything like that. But there was some sort of like
Coach Murray, Coach Murray had to teach him. Coach Murray played for us for 3 years, and so he had to teach him, hey man, this is how we celebrate pick sixes for touchdowns, and so he got to show him that. So anyway, it was it was cool, man. Just again, more than anything, the fun defense is hard. playing DB specifically is hard. You know, if you screw up on offense, you get second down, you get third down. A defensive back, you know, if you mess up, generally it's a touchdown. And so for him to play in those scenarios and get those picks, just awesome, and couldn't happen to a better kid. And more importantly, that entire defensive unit did a great job. So it was cool. And then Davon, like you mentioned, having that pick was awesome as well.
Yeah, well, back-to-back weeks, so pick sixes, I don't think you can complain about that. So that's a good thing. Brady Gordon the week before, and now you get one here with Nolan Ewing as part of his 3 interceptions for the game. Offensively, 440 yards of total offense, 6 of 7 in the red zone. In the first half, you guys pretty much go perfect on drives. I know you wanted to punch in a couple of them that resulted in field goals for Bobby Schmidt, but at the end of the day, you look at the offensive performance there in that first half specifically. That first drive was a tone setter. It's not like you ripped off 57 yards on one play. It was nice, balanced, typical Friends football, as I would imagine. And then you guys turn to the air, and Jack puts around the money to Kevin Green with a 47-yarder, and now it's, man, how do we stop this? Is it run? Is it pass? What's going to happen? And that was beautiful to see in the first half, specifically on Saturday.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's what it's got to be, right? So early on, for everyone that's watching this is obviously a fan of our program that's watched our games, right? Early on, we really struggled to complete those passes, and man, it made it hard, tough sledding. But what happens is the second we want to be the number 1 rush team in the country, which we're currently, we're doing a good job. We're number 1, and where we should be the kings of the rushing world, right? But we also want to be the number 1 pass efficiency team in the country. Okay, and we're not there yet, but I bet in the last 3 games we are. You know what I mean? If you broke it down by the last 3 games. And so that's the deal. That's the complimentary on offense of, hey, we're going to run the football. We're never going to apologize for that. People are going to hate playing us, and we're just going to, we want to impose our will on other teams. But what happens is when you do that, guaranteed one-on-one coverage, wide open shots downfield with big areas to throw the ball, and we want to be the number 1 pass efficiency team in the country. And so, like you mentioned, it was a lot of textbook drives for us, which were just physical. You could hear it. It just sounded different. You could hear the pad striking, and then to take the shots that we did. And we had a couple missed opportunities, but regardless, it was. I thought Jack did a great job of protecting the ball. He did a great job of putting it where our guy could make a play or no one. That's what it should be. And that's the benefit when you are the number 1 rush team in the country and you play the style of play we play. You get wide open touchdown passes or at least one-on-one coverage, and that's the. We've got to see that the last couple of games, and that was, it's awesome for our guys because they've done such a great job of, I don't know if buying in's the word to that, but they embrace that philosophy. And then as a coach, it's like you want that to pay off, and then we know that can happen, and to see it, and for our fans to see it, that's what's really cool. And just again a preview of where we're headed. We've only gotten better every week. We've done a good job of that. So anyway, it was cool to see those guys do that in the passing game.
This year, it's been fun to watch the development of the offensive line, and I feel like specifically offensive line-wise, you guys have moved some different pieces around, and really I think you see guys capitalize on opportunities. So how important is it to get those guys reps and to see them capitalize like that?
Yeah, it's awesome, and being the head coach and coaching the offensive line, those are my guys, man. We've played so many guys, and they've all played well. We kind of settled in Saturday and had a group that was going, but man, from everyone, had Noah on here who's playing, at a really, really high level. Steven Acosta's been doing a good job. We've played multiple kids at center. Dylan Phillips is currently playing.
Guard,
Dylan's played left tackle and center.
Yeah, kicking vigil.
Yeah, Chase Kepler has played center, kid out of Hutch. Done a phenomenal job. Just a great kid, man. Awesome. Couldn't be more proud of him. He didn't play as much Saturday, but he has been in the game, and he's done a great job. And he's just an awesome teammate, and, he's going to have a great career for us. Kenyon, at left guard, we played Kenyon Vigil. We played Dalton Phillips at times. And we played, I think Manny's played some. Manny played early. Who's been a 4-year guy who's, he's like the mayor of Friends at this point, right? But awesome. And then left tackle between Austin Bell, Dylan has played there some. Man, those kids have done good, and they've embraced it, and they, like all the linemen, they're awesome. They're great teammates, and they embrace each other. They coach each other every day, and it's kind of been whatever man's playing, the whole team's behind them, and they've served each other at practice. And so to see those guys have success and they're grading out at a super high level has been awesome. We've been really hard on them. We not only game film, but we film every individual rep of practice, and they're hard on themselves, and we're hard on them, and to see it pay off as a coach, it's just that's the most rewarding thing, right? And so those kids have done a good job of that, and what a great representation of our program. In a nutshell, that group, the growth they've made, and how they've embraced harder games and how they've gotten better from it.
Sure. Yeah, and I had to bring up the offensive line, and I was like, well, let me pull up my sheet real quick, my notes.
Yeah.
I was like, let's see if Coach Harrison got them all. I was like, all right, check.
I got
check,
them. Yeah,
check.
yeah.
You got it.
Those
done.
are my
You
guys.
got
I
it
know.
done.
Hey, I've had them at my house. I have to get them right. You know what I mean?
They were here last
Hey, there's a bunch
week.
of guys too. The JV guys that haven't played on Saturdays.
Yeah, right.
Man, it's just cool kids that work extremely hard. Who are There's a reason why I coach O-line. They're the best. It's the coolest group. It's the coolest group on the team. That's what it is.
I put Noah Redcorn on the spot last week, and he excelled. He rose to the occasion. So that was great. I think we all know what Zach Dressler can do, and I kind of joked with him. I was like, you getting a neck roll now? You turning, like, really embracing the 1970s fullback here? Is that what you're doing? And he chuckled. He's like, no, I've had this. I'm pretty sure this is the first time that you've worn this. Yeah. So I'm glad you're really leaning into it.
He really is.
But now you have Quentin Owens that saw the end zone on Saturday, and I can't help but just go, I think we all know what Zach can bring to the table. He's very, very consistent, but to spell him with another B-back like Quentin Owens, it seems like every time I see him, he's only getting more comfortable.
Yeah, awesome kid. Those guys have done a phenomenal job. We won't even. I'm not saying anything about the neck roll. We have a no neck roll policy, but Zach Dressler's playing so well. It's like, hey man, make it happen. It's like all the right moves out here. You know what I'm saying? So Tom Cruise reference, if you don't know.
That was great.
Anyway. Yeah, but then like you talked about, Q has been awesome. So we've known Coach Starron, who's Q's high school football coach, a long time, and they've been a flex-bone school, has won state championships and competed for state championships in Texas at San Antonio Wagner. And so being able to get a kid like that who's been coached in our offense and doing our things all through his career, it was a little bit of an advantage for him coming in because he's done all these things, and he has been very timely. He's done nothing but make plays when he's gotten opportunities, and so. And more than that, just awesome kid, fun kid, just always smiling, happy, and man has embraced playing some, not playing some. He's done a good job, and so he's kind of been what we call undeniable. When he gets out there, he produces, right? And so sometimes you just have to look at that and embrace it as a coach, and he's done a good job. That position's so hard. And it's so demanding, and we've relied on them so much, more than other years even for us, where maybe the slot, depending on how the defense is playing, the slots gets more opportunities. But we've had to really rely on those B-backs to play well, and when you have two of them, it's game-changing, and I think that's, you really been able to see that the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I want to bring up the slots, too. I would be remiss if I didn't, because you have Waylon Chance and KK. We've seen what they've been able to do. But on Saturday, you got some extended looks with Jet Cheatham who capitalized on some opportunities. You had Dylan Harden out there who capitalized on some opportunities. You have Asher Brewer catching touchdowns, first throwing touchdown there for Andrew Arnold. So it's another one of those things you got to bring up too, right? So you're able to get some extended time for those guys that maybe don't get the reps all the time, but those are guys that are able to step on the field and see some success, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, well, it's always what you want is game experience for guys, right? And so that's number one. While we play JV football and while we embrace that so much, and so those kids have been, they were undefeated in JV football, and those guys got a bunch of reps and plays. And then we
ring pops, might I add.
Ring pops, yeah, we're the JV national champions. If anyone doesn't know, 4 years running. But anyway, when you do that and you get up in the game, it's really hard. Like you don't want to mass sub because it's really hard, and there's probably no right way to do it because guys have been standing for so long. And when you can start sprinkling those guys in couples at a time, and then those guys have success, it's really good for them to get on the field. It's really good for them to learn from it, and then they did a great job of that. Jet's super talented, maybe the fastest kid on the team, one of the fastest kids. He's kind of switched positions a couple times, and with him being a specialist. In some of the practice segments we do, he's not always at individual time for the slot. So he's had to really focus on what he's doing, and he has embraced that completely. He's a perfect skill set for a slot. So we anticipate him only getting better. Asher the same way. Asher's a great running back out of high school who played defense last year. And so he's had a mixed career, but I think we've got a home for him there. So yeah, those guys did awesome when they came in, and it's really cool to finish the drive, and we were able to put some of our other offensive linemen in. So yeah, they did awesome, and it was a great day for the slots. Waylon's done his thing like you talked about, and hey,
I went back and looked at the box score. I was like, he really led the team in rushing, didn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like that was a quiet leading day for him.
Yeah, well, KK's a warrior, man. That's what we tell. that's the biggest compliment we get you is you're a warrior, man. And
Yeah.
and KK, without a doubt, he's a warrior, and all those guys are, man. Waylon's been a warrior. Lakin's has an injury, but he's been practicing the last week or so, and so just that position requires so much: the ability to catch the ball, the ability to run the football, and obviously to be able to block for each other. And so it's a lot like being an old lineman in the sense of it does take such unselfishness. So those guys have been great, really proud of them. Coach Kelly's the best slot coach in the country. I really believe I've met them all that run this offense, and so we're fortunate to have him. And, he's coached a couple All-Americans. So when you combine their talent with that level of coaching, they're only going to improve all the time.
Well, this week you take on the Ottawa Braves, a chance to get to 500, which that always feels great to say that, getting a chance to get back to 500. And there's no doubt that Ottawa, if you just take a look at the record, you go, all right, Braves haven't won a game, new head coach, don't have to worry about Kent Kessinger, who's been around for many, many years, which bums me out because he is such a staple in the conference. And not to see him on the sidelines, it's like, oh, man, I miss that guy. But Ottawa's coming in. The Braves might have a winless record, but this is a Braves team that I think when you put on film, there's talent on this squad. There is talent that you can see with the Ottawa Braves. So your thoughts on the matchup on Saturday?
Yeah, very, very interesting team to watch on film. And like you talked about, they haven't won a game yet, but they've had spurts of very, very good football. Played a bunch of quarterbacks. Early it looks like maybe they've settled in on who their quarterback's going to be, but certainly no lack of talent on their roster. And so, you know how football is, and we even witnessed our own stretches of very weird football stretches for us this year. So who knows why? They've had they've been one of the most penalized teams in the conference as well, and so that could have something to do with it. But they're definitely on offense. They're very, very, very talented, and so it'll be interesting to see how they choose to attack us. We anticipate them being throwing the ball 50 plus times, and so that'll stress your defense anytime, and that's something we've worked hard on this week. And so we'll it'll be interesting to see how they come out. But they like you mentioned, have new coaching staff, new head coach, and they've hired some new guys, and so it just sometimes for guys that are new to a conference, we're lucky our entire staff has coached in the conference, so maybe there's some grace there. I don't know, as far as like understanding how the conference works and maybe the dynamics. But they seem to be getting better every week, and man, you know how it is. They'll come, and everybody comes out early ready to play. So it'll be a matter of can we sustain the success we've had, and make it a tough night for them. But now on offense, they're very talented. Defensively, they're just multiple. They played a lot of different fronts. They slanting and moving guys around, and so it'll be interesting to see is how they choose to defend us, and what they've seen on film versus us and all that good stuff. But I can tell you, our guys have had a great week. So, what we've talked about, these great weeks of practice play off on Saturdays. And, the cool part is our kids see that, and now they understand. And our kids have some confidence when they walk around, and they're carrying themselves like champions. And so, I believe that hopefully that'll lead to even more success Saturday.
Well, coming up here, Coach, you have Coach Kempf, Coach Reed. Your thoughts on those guys before we turn things over?
Just two of my best friends. We're very close, man. I don't. Football's our hobby. It's our profession, and so we're best of friends, and we also work together. So it's always a unique thing to balance. But number one, our families are very lucky to have guys that are number one phenomenal football coaches, and as smart as any college football coach in the country on the schematic side. But then on the other side of that, just great dudes that you can trust your kids with. They're going to hold them to a high standard, but treat them really well and coach them with respect and all the things we talk about on our program. So that's that's been awesome. Our relationships are very different. I've worked with Coach Kempf since 2012, I think it was. I coached 1 year without him as a head coach, and so he came in and hired him basically out of college, and we've worked together, and now from our first couple of years coaching and screaming at each other nonstop, now I just scream at him and he laughs at me, so pretty much. But he's like my brother, man.
So you got to stick around. That way he doesn't attack me.
Yeah. And Coach Kelly's that guy too. These guys are like my brothers, man. I really do love them. And so Coach Kemp's no different, and do anything for him. And I know he'd be the same. And we're lucky to have him around. And he's been the conference coach of the year, and he's done a really good job of adjusting. I mean, I can sure you've seen that. We came in with a defensive plan, and it didn't necessarily fit our guys perfectly, to be honest with you. And so we've adjusted and gotten better from it. And so that's the sign of a great coach. Can you adjust and fix your flaws, even if it's not something you planned in the preseason? And I think that's what I'm most proud of for him. He's done that, and so super proud of him. And like I said, I don't want to compliment him too much, but Anyway, I'll make him pay for it later. But anyway, but then Coach Reed, I met Coach Reed in 2013.
Sorry, I just asked Coach Kempf to give me $20 for you.
Yeah, that's okay.
To me,
well,
maybe that's what it is. Maybe he gives me the 20 because I opened up the door for you.
Yeah, well, that's okay. It's all right, and he'll take advantage of that, I'm sure. But Coach. Coach Reed I met in 2013 through three-dimensional coaching, which is a staple of our program, and we were just friends. I mean, we were those guys. We were resources for each other. He's been a head high school football coach, won a state championship in Oklahoma. He's been a phenomenal job, and we were always with clinics together. I was traveling down, and that's how we got to know each other. And never thought we'd coach together. It was never the plan necessarily, but when COVID came, so from being friends from 2013 to when COVID came. It was time for a change for him, and we had the opportunity at Bethel to bring him on board. And, the way he's come in, and he's just such a detail-oriented guy, and it's helped us tremendously. We were scoring a bunch of points, and we were winning a bunch of games before we were together, but now our organization and the entire system has benefited from, me, him, and Coach Kelly work together on the offensive side. And so, like you mentioned, just an awesome dude who's been just a benefit to our staff and program. And we're very fortunate to have guys like that, and Coach Kelly as well. We got to get Coach Kelly on. Here's the fun one. We're the old guys with kids. Coach Kelly's the young fun guy.
I just know he's going to show up and wear those shades.
Yeah, he's going to make us all look bad. You know what I mean? He's the cool guy.
I got to make sure we save him for last because it's too much prime time on the show is what it is.
But and then the last thing to say about those guys, unfortunately in college football, what happens is when you have some success, staffs tend to break up. And you lose guys to other programs or other opportunities. And what our staff has done is remain loyal to each other, and stuck together throughout change. From where we're at to coming together.
It's very
here.
easy just to say, you're going, Coach? All right, well,
exactly.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, exactly right. And those guys said, hey, let's do this thing together. And I hope that's, I'm so far from perfect, it ain't even funny, and I'll disappoint everyone, that's listening to this at some point, but we do love each other, and we hold each other accountable, and we have a group of coaches that never point the blame at kids. We always look at ourselves. What are we not doing a good enough job of? And unfortunately, that's pretty unique and countercultural in today's football. It really is a blame game, and that's just not the men that are leading this program. We're gonna embrace hard times. We're gonna hold our kids to a standard, but we're gonna hold ourselves to those same standards. And I can tell you those guys do that every day, and I don't think you can give a man a better compliment than that.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Terry Harrison, head football coach at Friends University, here on the Friends University Coaches Show. The Falcons are now 3-4 on the season after a win over Sterling, 42-7. Up next, Ottawa, 1 o'clock kickoff from Adair Austin Stadium in Wichita. Get out there. Should be a wonderful day for some football. We'd love to see you out there as the Falcons try to get to 500 here for the season. Well, the Friends University Coaches Show's not quite over yet. We'll talk to those two guys that Coach Harrison just gushed over. We'll talk to the offensive coordinator, Jeremy Reed, and the defensive coordinator, Paul Kempf. That is coming your way next here on the Friends University Coaches Show from Chicken Max. Welcome back to the Friends University Coaches Show from Chicken Max. Voice of the Falcons, Pat Strathman. Pleased to be joined by two coordinators for the Friends University football team. To my left, the offensive coordinator, Jeremy Reed. To my right, the defensive coordinator, Paul Kempf. Coaches, thank you so much for joining me here today. How are things going?
It's good.
Yeah? Having a good time?
Absolutely.
How about you, Coach? How was practice? Everything good?
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
Good Thursday.
Fantastic. Very good. Well, it's great to have you here, first and foremost, but to have this opportunity to talk about such a lopsided win, 42-7, just really incredible. The largest margin of victory at Friends since 2015. I have some numbers for you. Maybe not so much for you, but we can have some fun talking about the offense, obviously. But,
they always have numbers.
Yeah, there's always numbers. Yeah. And that's the thing. After the fact, you sit down and you start to dig into the record books a little bit, and that's when you start to realize, wow, there's some pretty impressive things to note here. But let's just get your overall thoughts on the game, Coach, from an offensive standpoint.
Well, it was fun to watch our kids execute. We're at that point of the year that you're wanting to see kids get better at their skills and fundamentals. And obviously when you're at a new place, it sometimes takes a little longer than what you would like. But it was so fun just to watch our kids be able to go out and execute plays. And I think we punted one time all day and just had a great day of watching kids go out there and do what we do in practice. And, it's just rewarding for us as coaches to be able to watch kids trust the process. That's a very coach term in today's world for whatever reason, but it's truly what it takes to be great. You go out there, you trust the process of how you were trained, trust your training, and you get to watch kids go out and do what they did on Saturday.
And to have so much success just across the board, we'll get to that here just a little bit, certainly was big time. Coach, how about from your perspective? I was having a blast talking to you in the pregame line, but we're not going to talk about that. That the end result was a 42-7 win, though, which is great.
Yeah, I think they only punted one time.
Yeah,
I think we had a bunch of turnovers.
It was back-to-back punts is when it happened, because I looked down at my sheet and like, is this really the first time we're seeing a punt today? Yeah. And it was in the third quarter, well into the third quarter.
We're starting to fly around and cause some turnovers, and our sack numbers are down, but we had some pressure on cue, and it caused some turnovers, and a couple different guys had good picks, and Nolan had the 3, right? And,
yes.
I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but yeah, man, we're starting to fly around and have fun. I saw a lot of guys, having fun with violence, and that's what we like.
That's what you're all about. Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, you brought up Nolan. We'll talk about the individual performance, but I'll make sure I'm blocking this here. I don't want you to look at my notes. I'm a little self-conscious about this.
I can't
really.
Read anyway.
Not at all. Well, here's the thing. So you hold Sterling to under 200 yards total offense. It's about a 175 around there. 116 in the first half. So you hold Sterling to about 60 yards in the second half. I was telling Coach Harrison this. I'm like, I can't wait to share these numbers with Coach Kempf because I think he's going to like these, at least I think. First time France has held a team under 200 yards since Sterling in 2019. Sterling had 190 yards, but it was a loss for France, 22-0. The next game under 200 for the Falcons was in 2017 at Bethel. Bethel had 190 yards of total offense, but a loss for France, 13-0. The game before that, Bethany had 161 yards total offense. Friends got the win, 49-20. So the last 2 times France has held a team to under 200 yards, losses. This time, though, a victory. So your thoughts on that? It's been a little while at Friends University to have that type of success.
When you put up 40-some, we better get that dub, though. So it was good. But I guess we had a defensive touchdown, so we'll take a little bit of that.
Yeah,
that's right. It was, we've been – when those guys get rolling on we feed off of each other, and like I said, we were flying around, and you could hear us, which is something we really preach. We want to sound different than other teams, and we want to hear plastic on plastic, and we want to fly to the ball and play within the rules of football, with good attitudes and play, just being good dudes that fly around and smoke people and sound different.
Well, Nolan didn't have to use his pads to tackle people. Mm-hmm. He just had to step in front of some passes and get some picks, and he ended up with 3 of them. Nolan Ewing, we're talking about, which everyone should know what's going on by now.
Absolutely.
Because he had a wonderful ball game. 4 interceptions in total for the defense. One of them coming from Davon Mason, a joke with Davon after the fact. Well, I'm glad he got redemption because that first one, it was like, man, he was right there, just barely mistimed his jump. And then Nolan, not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions, the last one being a pick 6, back-to-back weeks of a defense scoring. That's got to make a coach feel good. And after doing some digging, I was like, man, Nolan's got to be close to a school record. I pulled up the KCAC record books, and 4 is actually the record by a Friends University defensive back. But, hey, 3, really, really good. Nolan had himself a special day.
I'll take 3. I'm good with that. I figured somebody probably had 4, but 3 is awesome, man. 3 is awesome. I played receiver. I never had 3 catches in a game, so I'll take 3 picks.
Well, how special has it been coaching Nolan? I think this has been really fun to see him develop.
Absolutely.
He's been having a great season, to say the least, but to kind of see it all come together like that with a new coaching staff, sometimes it's some players could be a little apprehensive because they know this is their final year. Why should I do this? Why should I do that? It seems like Nolan has completely embraced the change at Friends University.
Yeah, the guys have done a great job, man. We haven't played as good a defense as we'd hope sometimes this year, but I've enjoyed every day with these guys. And they react to coaching very well. They react to each other really well. We don't have problems in practice. We love each other up and we fly around, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm extremely proud of Nolan, but there's a good number of those guys that we inherited that have embraced it and practice hard and take coaching well. And man, it's been a lot of fun. I think we're starting to trend in the right direction, man. And was fun.
Well, with the sun approaching your face, I'll turn and look at Coach Reed and get to someone that doesn't have to deal with this glare right in his face. Coach Reed, 440 yards of total offense. I don't have anything to hide here. I mean, one of these days, I will say I was going back and I was like, all right, how many yards in a game the Friends have last year? Did they ever go above 400? I think they might have did it once, but that was pretty much it. I haven't done too much research on that. The defensive side of things, I was like, I mean, under 200 yards, it's like, man, like you got to really dive deep into that. But I think from your standpoint, and there for a little bit, I come and talk to you, and you're like, man, I haven't had an offense do this in back-to-back games and probably in my entire coaching career. Well, now you see things get put together. You see 42 points on the board. Yes, 6 came from the defense. We'll definitely make note of that.
We'll take those all the time.
Yes, of course.
Keep
That's
scoring.
it. That's
We're fine with it.
9 of 14 on third downs, which I think that's really the biggest thing that I've been seeing in terms of progress is the money downs. You start to see things get a little bit better. You're putting yourselves in better position. 6 of 7 in the red zone. First half, you guys basically score on every drive. That last one, yeah, technically you didn't score, but first 4 offensive drives, you guys were nails. So your thoughts on the offensive day?
Yeah, we just during the bye week, we came off the bye week, and my message to our offense on that Sunday getting ready to come back, that I guess it was whoever we played after the bye week. Everything runs together at this point, but it was reset.
There's some sunglasses for you.
The word was reset.
Sorry.
And we just wanted to, reset everything. Reset, the statistical places that we were at, because we were bad. Coming off the bye week, we were like 27% on third down.
Yeah.
We do a first down efficiency thing, because I think third down is a correlation to first down in our offense, and we were way below our standards. So we just wanted to reset everything, and more than that, we wanted to reset how we practice. It wasn't that our guys were ever giving poor effort, but our intentionality, our focus at practice was just not to the standard that we know it takes to play at a championship level. And so the guys did an amazing job of just taking that challenge and running with it. And the last few weeks we've been great on third down. We've been really good on first down, and we chart that at being +4 or more. And it's resulted in a lot of different ways of production, both in the run game and the pass game. And the thing that I admire about this group the most is every challenge that we've brought to them from the time we've stepped on campus, they take it to heart and they try their very best to do it. And we're just seeing some results right now that honestly started 4 or 5 weeks ago when things weren't going real well. The offensive line's playing so much better, and that was a reset. I remember when it happened, and now they're playing very, very well where everybody's seeing it, and that could go at all of our positions. But just that whole reset after the bye week has really taken off for us as an offense, and it's been a lot of fun.
You brought up getting production in different ways. Your first 2 drives, if I remember correctly, first one, you guys get the opening kickoff. It's not like you ripped off 57 yards of offense. It was just slow but steady. 10 yards here, 6 yards here, here's another 9, that type of stuff. Next drive, what happens? All right, Jack, we're going to go over the middle on a post route, the KG. Put it right on the money, touchdown, 47 yards. So it couldn't help but go. That's the type of balance that you've been looking for sure. Because I know we talk about this offense, and as much as we focus on the run, which you should. You should be talking about run. It's that flex ray that you've been talking about. And to see that come to fruition, this late in the season, now I can't help but just go, that's the type of balance that I think that you've probably been looking for a little bit.
Yeah, when you go back to St. Mary's and then this last week against Sterling, we were 6 of 10 for 100+, whatever it ended up being on both nights. And we don't ever go into a game going, we want to throw it 1 time or we want to throw it 20 times. We're going to do what we feel like is best to give our offense success. And one thing that we do want to do is we don't want to be that flex bone option team that says we're not going to throw it, and that's where the term flex raid comes in. Of we want to make sure our kids know we're willing to throw it at any time. Play action game, 5-step drop, boot. It doesn't matter. We have a very deep passing game. Now you do what you feel like fits the kids' strengths that you currently have on the roster. And
sure,
maybe we're not doing as much stuff right now as we wanted to in the beginning, but I think we've kind of honed in on what our kids are good at, and we're starting to see some better production on game days of throwing the football, and that's a vision of ours. We just want to be a little different than what most perceive this offense to be, and we think throwing the football doesn't have to be a rare thing. It can be a thing that's balanced or maybe not balanced. It just needs to be efficient, and it needs to be effective when we do it.
I feel like Jack's getting a little bit more comfortable. Kind of see the same thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You if you haven't played under center and done the things we do, which is reading people almost every play, it's unique, and it takes some game reps of live people coming at you to get that comfort. But he's done an amazing job, and that kind of fits his personality. He's a very calm individual, and he does just a great job of being able to give me feedback on game day, and I can give him my feedback on what I'm seeing. And man, I couldn't be more proud of a kid to step in who's never ran the option, or I don't know if he's ever been under center. But he's done a great job of leading our offense from the quarterback spot.
Your B-backs, and I was talking to Coach Harrison about this. I think we all know what Zach's about. Zach is a guy that you can rely on. You can run the same play and over again, and Zach's not going to get tired of it. He's just an absolute warrior. That's what he is. But now you're starting to see Quentin kind of come into his own a little bit. So now you have another B-back that sort of spells Zach. Not like you need to take Zach off the field, because, again, that guy can handle 70 carries if he truly wanted to do that. But now you're starting to see another B-back show up, and Quentin, who, again, young pup, freshman, but you're starting to see that develop as well. So how important has that been? Because I know the goal is always to get a B-back over 100 yards. Well, last couple of weeks you've had some really good success with those B-backs.
Yeah, I mean, everything in this offense goes through the B-back. Sometimes we joke about it, but honestly, that's kind of just the way the offense goes, is it goes through the middle, center, quarterback, B-back. And B-back is a very unique position. I tell kids, I coach the quarterbacks and the B-backs, and I tell a B-back, are you willing to be in 30-plus car crashes a game? Because you're going to get hit every single time. And obviously Zach is that guy. He is, you said it, he is a true warrior. But I've always, in my whole time of running this offense, I'm always going to play two B-backs, because it's not about one guy. You got to keep that position fresh. You can't have a guy that gets beat up and can't go full speed. And so Q's done a great job as a freshman. He ran this offense in high school, and he has got more comfortable, and he's starting to get faster to the line of scrimmage and making those secondary cuts that we've been working on, and it's starting to become a little natural. And the college game's a little faster, and I see that the game is slowing down for him physically and mentally, and he's done a great job. He's got a great personality in our room. He's a lighthearted guy that keeps the whole room laughing. But I will say, when it's game day, he gets very serious, and he knows how to turn that switch, and very proud of how he's been able to come in and play at a high level behind Zach.
How about the slots? I know Waylon has kind of bounced from offense to defense to offense. He's been that way in his career, but now I didn't even realize this, though. I went back and looked at the box and go, oh, yeah, he led Friends in rushing on Saturday. Could have fooled me. That was the quietest leaning type of day I think I've seen so far this year. You have KK, who's just a freshman, maybe 125 pounds, soaking wet, not exactly a big dude, but guy who doesn't shy away from contact. And on Saturday, you're able to work in some other guys as well. Dylan Harden, you're able to work in Jet Cheatham, who really has some blazing speed. You saw that on display on Saturday. You had Asher Brewer step on the field and catch a touchdown. Andrew throws his first touchdown as a Falcon, the first as a college quarterback. So your thoughts on the slot back play?
Well, slot backs, for one, is the most dynamic position in football, in my opinion, but it's also the most complicated because it takes so much mentally to be right at that position, and then it's a very physical position. You're blocking anywhere from a defensive end to an inside linebacker to a safety to a corner. I mean, they're everywhere. And so, number one, when we're blessed to have Coach Kelly, who coaches those A-backs, who played that position. It's such a unique position. But it's a fun position. It's a position that you get to run the ball, you get to catch, you get to block, and those guys have done a great job of just adapting. I can't tell you how hard it is to learn that position in the overall scheme of things of what we do in the run game and the pass game. And we say it all the time, what you do without the ball is more important than what you do with it. And it's kind of hard to get that approach in your soul until you really see the results of it. And those guys have been straight warriors. Couldn't be more proud of Waylon, of how he's come on and just he's kind of been the leader of that group just by example. KK is obviously a dynamic kid who came from a great program in Texas and ran a very similar offense. But, man, talking about another warrior who, he's not the biggest, but, man, he's not scared of anything. And then you mentioned some guys that got to come in with Jed and Asher. And, A-back's a lot like B-back. We want to play multiple kids on game day. We want that position to stay fresh. But it's a learning process, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of really talented kids, and we're excited for our future of what that position is going to look like.
All right, now the sun's out of your face. I can come back to you as the microphone's way down. He was just like, all right, Coach is just going to, talk over here.
I was listening, man. I was enjoying it.
Well, Coach, from your perspective on Saturday, as you said, you saw some guys kind of gel and everything. I think the one thing I'm starting to see is you're having a group that's going out there and, I don't know, fun has just been the one thing I've been seeing from this group. As much as you want the tenacity and guys to go out there and fly around and hit hard, I couldn't help but chuckle when Nolan got the pick six. He gets over to the sideline, and there's this loud celebration. I'm like, okay. I grab my binoculars. Like, I don't see any championship turnover belt. I don't see a chain. I don't see anything like that. No, it's just a celebration. Everyone just celebrating each other's successes. And then Nolan after the game on Twitter is like, hey, thanks for looking that up, but if it's not without the other 10 guys, I don't make those picks.
Yeah, man. We do talk a lot about celebrating. And so then sometimes, like early in the time, we'd get a play, and they would be I'm like, get over here and party. Get over here and party. Run off the field. Party off the field. We want to party on the field, party off the field. But then I'm like, hey, you get a pick six. Go back behind here and do whatever. And, with the, yeah, man. And no, man. We just have a lot of fun. We might get some choreographs. So I don't know if we'll do a belt. I'm a little bit outside the box.
You're a little more
turnover
old
plank.
school, I would say.
Some I don't know, some WWF stuff. Maybe some.
Just get ring pops.
Yeah, some ring pops. Yeah, man. Some Stone Cold Steve Austin water bottle stuff. Never know.
I mean that stuff does crack me up when I do see that from on the college sidelines. I got to say, Coach Harrison brought something up in the first segment, and I couldn't help but just go, yeah, I've been seeing it at the beginning of the season. I think you guys showed a lot of different things, but the one thing that you've been trying to show, what we saw at Bethel, that psycho package, you have the top, you have your 7 guys, the front 7 standing, moving around, never know what's going to happen. You haven't really seen that the last couple of weeks, but that's because you're adjusting to really the strengths of what this team is truly about. So what has that process been like, having these kids adjust to that? I know it's fun to have the 7 guys stand up, do all the different things, but certainly there's a reason for the change, and that's what you got to do. You got to make changes in the middle of the season. Yeah,
for sure. We're always going to send pressure. It's a staple of what we do. And just early on, we weren't getting us home as much as we'd like to, and if you're basing something off of pressure, and you're not getting as much as you want, you better change it a little bit, and we're still going to do it, and we have some guys that are great at it. It's also we need some coaching time with it. I'm not saying that's all kids not getting pressure. We need to coach it up but yeah, that'll be, we're always, so right now we don't have near as many sacks. I think we have probably a game worth of sacks right now. I'd like to see some 6, 7, 8 sack games, and we've had them before, but pressure doesn't always manifest itself in sacks. Right. Sometimes it manifests itself in picks. And I think we've kind of made it. We're going to send pressure. I'm going to send pressure, and my guys are going to send pressure, and that's what we're going to do. So we get some fast throws, and sometimes fast throws get picked off, and that's a lot of fun too. We take a lot of pride in shots on QBs. We take a lot of pride, in legal shots on Qs and jumping routes and being really aggressive. And we're going to do it. We're going to continue to do that. But if you're not getting as much of something that you want, you better change a little bit. And so we've morphed, and we're always going to send pressure. But
Is that the eat the captain defense I've been hearing about?
Yeah, it is.
I think it was Braden for the first time he brought it up last week ago. Excuse me, what did you just say? You said eat the captain defense? What is that mean?
Yeah, a little Jaws reference there. You're never safe. You're never safe. Is
that why you got this captain hat in your office?
Yeah.
Is that what's going? Okay,
yeah,
that makes more sense now. Yeah. And I did see a picture of a shark, so now it's starting to come together. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
How do you not get bit by a shark? You stay out the water.
Stay out the water.
Not if it's Jaws. He's going to go up in that boat and eat the captain. You're never safe, and we still have a big part of that. You're not safe. We're going to be unconventional. I'm not going to sit back, in a base read defense. So we are running a little bit more of some base stuff right now, and that's fun and it's great. And I lived in it. When Terry first hired me at Wichita Heights, I probably sent 2 pressures a game. I mean, I literally could have gone up in the box. We'd not have a guy on the field because it was just base. But, then you morph and you get to meet some fun guys. And, Coach Reed has had a good influence on the defense with some guys that he knew from Oklahoma. We've had a lot of fun with it. And, we are our own kind of version of it. But, yeah, man, it's I love pressure. I'll always send pressure until I get fired or something. That's not gonna happen. Sorry, I should have.
I was gonna say, come on.
No. I've been with Terry for 9 years. We're gonna be. That's my guy.
And that's what Coach was saying. He was saying he's known you guys for a while now. So
yeah, I've been with Terry for a long time.
I mean, what's it been like? I think the one thing that Coach Harrison brought up that I couldn't agree more with, when Coach Harrison said, "Hey, I'm gonna come down here and be the head football coach of Friends," you know what you guys could have said? "All right, Coach, congratulations, best of luck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe we'll go look at other things." That wasn't it. You guys said, well, "No, you want us to come down to Wichita? Sure, we're in."
Yeah.
So, talk about that. I guess a little bit more in your relationship with Coach Harrison.
Yeah, we're a big, we believe wholeheartedly in loyalty, and that's kind of, I've been with Coach Harrison for a long time, and that's my guy, and that's how we coach our guys. I'm very, very loyal to my players, and it's kind of what we've built our 10 years on. And we're going to look after one another, and when you have that trust in one another, you can coach hard. I know that Coach Harrison, cares deeply about me and my family, and so when hard times come, it's no problem. It's the same thing with my guys. We don't cuss our guys at all. We're not like that, but we coach our guys hard, and we hold them to a very high standard. But
right.
when a young man knows that you legitimately care about him as a person and as a football player, and you want what's best for him, you can coach guys really hard. And that's part of the trust that we're doing. And it's been taken up by these guys. I do not worry about how I coach my guys. They know I love them, and there's always, I'm not going to dog cuss my guys. We're not going to do that.
Right.
But I've coached guys really, really hard, and and Coach Harrison can call me out on anything because there's 100% trust there.
He said at the beginning, he was like, "Yeah, I yelled at him, but now I can't yell at him because he laughs." That's what he says. I'm like, well, I guess that's the
but I appreciate it too.
development.
If he sees something that he don't like, I want him to tell me because that dude's a heck of a coach. And so I think that's the fun part about us four have been together, Coach Kelly and Coach Harrison and Coach Reed and I, for a long time, and there's a ton of trust in that family.
Yeah.
And it's everything. It's like if anything bad happens on the field, there's no offense defense thing.
Yeah.
Ball gets on the ground, they pick it up, we're firing on the field. You'll never see one of my players, and if you see one of my players, you ain't going to see him again on the field. But you'll never see one of my players, run by a offensive guy and come on, something like that. It's all bonus defense. Let's party, baby. More defense. And and as you saw on Saturday, it's hard when we get up on you and the flex is going. It's hard, man. You don't get the ball back. You don't get it back when they're rolling. It's a nightmare for people. And when we're pressuring and getting after people and they're running the ball like a son of a gun, that's hard. That's a hard thing to go against. Fortunately, I've never had to, but I'm very thankful for that. And they suck the air out of the place, man. It gets, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, Coach Harrison didn't mention anything about yelling at you the first couple of years. So I told Coach Harrison, like, you got to stay here because I've been calling someone a psychopath, a big yeller on the sidelines, and I'm worried for my safety that he would come in with a chair and just start Stone Cold, Steve Austin up in here. But I guess your thoughts on, same thing like I told Coach Kempf, it's you easily could have said, you know what, I'll stay here or I'll go elsewhere, congratulations. But instead it was, here's an invitation, come on down with me, and without hesitation, it's I'm coming down. Let's build something.
Yeah, I mean, from a professional decision, it was very easy for me. I left coaching high school football in the state of Oklahoma for 17 years, and 11 of those being a head coach, and was in a very comfortable position, if you will. Could have stayed at that job and been very happy, but I was looking and felt like God was moving me to do something else. And Terry and I have been friends since 2013, and honestly, we're just friends, through football, and we talked all the time, and there was an opportunity. And so, for me, when Terry came and said, "Hey, here's this opportunity at Friends," it wasn't a decision at all. I mean, I loved the kids we were coaching at Bethel, loved my position group, loved everything about those guys, but it was very easy. I did not get into college coaching to coach 1 year with Terry and these guys. It was more about being around people such as Paul and EK and Terry, and so like it wasn't even a decision for me. It was real easy. You have a job, you have an opportunity for me. Easy answer. Let's go.
Easy, sweet. Gotta go back to you because here I am talking about like every individual offensive player, here at Coach Reed. We talked about Nolan, but how about some of these other guys? Davon Mason coming over from Bethel. Glad he got a pick. I think that was his first one, maybe in his college career.
I think he might have had a couple before.
Okay, gotcha. Maybe I'm wrong.
First one at Friends, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I know Braden. That was Braden's first one. He revealed on the show. That was his first one since a junior in high school.
Yeah, he was a receiver at JUCO, and he's we came in, watched him move a little bit, and we're like, come on, play some DB, baby. And he flies around and takes coaching really well, and we've had a bunch of guys come on that have had a lot of fun. Ethan Grimmett is a freshman from Oklahoma that's playing really good football for us right now. Keandre Dickerson at nose right now is playing really well for us. We play a bunch of linebackers right now that
you guys
are all
rotate like crazy.
Yeah, we do. We play, and that's kind of what we talk about when we play. We want to play crazy, fast, and violent. And so, if you're flying around and smoking people, you're going to get out there. And we are very multiple. So guys, sometimes we definitely saw in the JV games there are guys flying around and smoking people. But they also have to, get to know. I mean, shoot, we run 5 different packages, and we're very, very multiple. So it takes a little bit of level of trust and a little bit of time to get that down. But we've had a lot of guys come in and really get after it. Jonah Reynolds came over from Mid-American Nazarene. He's done a great job, and just a handful of guys have played a lot of football. We played a ton of guys.
Yeah, and I mean, here I am. I can use a little cheat sheet. I just pull up my notes right here. It's a beautiful thing having everything. I don't want to leave anyone because I know you have Saya Ponte and AJJ and Cameron Williams had a great game the other day, and I know you're starting to work in some other guys too. Jacoby Smith always seems to be flying around, and
he does play very fast.
Khalil Cherry and Shamarius Davis.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just looking at this
Shamarius might be
here.
one of the fastest players I've ever seen.
I'm just looking at all this, and it's like there's always these notes
Pierre
of like
McNeil.
what they've done. It's just been incredible to see them
Marco
excel.
Torres. Yep, bunch of those guys, man. You're right. We do play a lot, and we have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Oh, it makes it challenging for the play-by-play guy, but that's good. Keeping me on my toes. So, just like anything, looking at the offensive side, I'm like, I got to wait for a second. Although I'm getting better at this whole figuring out who's got the ball. I will say, when you see on a regular basis, it's great. But like up in Salina, it's like I got to wait like an extra second just to make sure. Be back? Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's that guy right there. I got to go through my progressions. A guy like a quarterback, play-by-play wise, like nope. Yes, okay, there you go. And then that's when you start making a call. And it's the same thing. It's like I got to put extra boxes on my board because I'm like, look at all these different guys. I got to keep track of them all. So, but that's what makes it fun, though. You want to have as many guys step on the field, and it's all about reps, right? You're trying to build something for the future, and there's no doubt this is a young team. I think that's one thing we all keep forgetting is how much progress has been made when you have, about 70-some freshmen and sophomores?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, we're very freshman, sophomore heavy.
Maybe 13, 15 seniors around there.
Mm-hmm.
So a very young team, a young team that's making these strides. And I think you look on both sides of the ball, and you're starting to see these guys come together and grow old, and this is what you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the future is definitely bright, and you know what, I think we're going to have a great class come in for next year, and we're going to make it very competitive. But we play a lot of guys, and we play a very physical brand of football. You better have a lot of guys, and yeah, man.
Yeah, I had a question on here that said, "What's your brand of a player?" But I think you kind of answered that as well as you. Like I think that's kind of well, you want guys who are fast and physical, relentless.
Yep,
pretty simple. For you, probably it's just the same way. It's like be willing to do anything.
Yeah,
right?
guys with chips on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Guys that want to get out and prove a little something in a good way, and get after it. Guys that enjoy coming to practice every day to be with their teammates and truly want to have a growth mindset. There's a thing around what we do with standards and expectations. Rules equal compliance. Standards and expectations equal growth, and that's what our program's about. That's what we're about. And when we find a group of kids like that, then not that we don't right now, but I'm saying as we go through the asking what kind of player we're looking for. When we identify kids like that, we recruit them. We recruit them really hard, and it's going to build something really special.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait. Coaches, Coach Kempf, Coach Reed, thank you so much. Greatly
Thank you,
appreciate it. It's been a blast. This was great. It was terrific. I was expecting the entire time Coach Kempf just yelling at me like, all right, now the tides have turned here. Now we got to talk about this in person.
I'm a softie, bro.
I walk out to the field, and this guy comes and goes, I hear you've been saying something about it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have been saying stuff about you. But really, in all reality, it's, I come out to one practice, I'm like, there's the energy. There it is. And Coach Reed over here, not saying you don't bring the energy, but it's like it's more cool, calm, collected.
He's the doctor over there, man. I'm not smart enough. I got to be crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You got to make up for something, right?
You got to.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Best of luck to you guys on Saturday.
Appreciate it, you brother.
All right, Coach Paul Kempf, the defensive coordinator, Jeremy Reed, offensive coordinator for the Friends University Falcons, here on the Friends University Coaches Show from Chicken Max this Saturday, 1 o'clock kick against Ottawa. The 3 and 4 Falcons are at Adair Austin Stadium. Come on out and enjoy some football. It should be a blast. Real quick, got to say thank you to Chicken Max. They're the ones that make this possible. Locally owned and operated, or hatched, I should say, right here in Wichita. That's the doctor lingo over
That was
there,
good.
right? Yeah,
That's excellent chicken.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Known for their legendary sandwiches, taking the chicken sandwich to the max. Their smoked chicken is smoked in almond wood every day, several times a day in each location, giving it a fresh, unique flavor. Savory sides like mac and cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy, potato salad, coleslaw, and much, much more. Coach Harrison orders like hush puppies every week, so I'm just saying they're pretty fire. Club salads and power bowls with their smoked chicken for a healthy choice. Several sauces unique to Chick Max. 3 locations in Wichita. We are at the Weston Maple location, 325 Southwest Street, every single Thursday at 5:30. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Talons up.